As tariffs continue to fear investors out of their positions big time, what if we are right now getting evidence that the bounce is going to come faster than something that comes extremely fast? So if you understand that when this market pumps, it's gonna pump pretty fast. Hit that like and subscribe, get signed up with Femex below, no KYC or VPN required if you use my link below. And without any further ado, let's take a look at what we see today, which is still the S&P, the NASDAQ, all the way down here in terms of their percentage moves. Bitcoin still, although struggling a little bit more than on Friday, still holding up better than these stock indices, than the stock market in general. And as we saw, the S&P 500 has largest intraday swing between loss to gain since November of 2008. That's pretty big. This was due to a fake news headline on X, which caused a huge gain in the S&P 500. I don't usually say things are big, but this right here is pretty big. But really what this signaled and told us is something a lot bigger. Specifically, the market ripped on potentially fake news. That's the proof we need that the market is going to send the second tariffs are either negotiated, removed, or there's some conclusion or ending of the uncertainty we're currently seeing, and it's a race to get in before it explodes. I think the major takeaway here is that we just got this evidence that if we look at, this is Bitcoin, if we look at, for example, the stock market or the S&P 500 specifically, you can see this is on the daily chart, actually some green today, and even on the weekly a little bit. Very big moves to the downside, but we see this volatility specifically because we just got, and I already knew this was the case, and I think a lot of you probably already knew this as well, but we just got complete confirmation of it. Very similar to somebody actually left a comment about the fake news about like the Bitcoin ETFs, which ended up being true. Was it like the Cointelegraph intern who had like the fake post that said ETFs were approved? But then they did get approved, but the market pumped massively back in like October of 2023, I believe. And then at the beginning of 2024, we did get the spot ETFs and the market went crazy, just like that fake tweet back in October of 2023 told us. Very similar, most likely, to exactly what we're seeing here, where I think we are going to see the stock market completely rip, as well as Bitcoin and a lot of these tech stocks and risk on assets in general rip massively when there is some conclusion to these tariffs. And right now, it's all due to the uncertainty. This market is just extremely uncertain, more so than, in years, probably at least in the last decade, because of what's going on with these tariffs. But the biggest thing here is that as we just got more confirmation, more proof of, this fear, this uncertainty can be lifted instantly. So even though we're watching the stock market go down, for example, we see the SPX down currently was about like 22%, which is a recession. Currently, it's about 17% again because we had a big bounce. We saw a nice, massive intraday swing. This market is going to explode very fast when it does. When exactly is it going to explode? Nobody on the planet except maybe Trump or something could tell you exactly when. But the thing is, if you're waiting for that exact moment, it's going to be very, very, very hard to time that because it's so random. It's so, it's based on a human decision, basically. It's basically based on an announcement. And so it can happen like this. However, I have become extremely bearish now because Jim Cramer is telling us not to panic. That's the ultimate signal that actually we should probably be panicking like our lives depend on it. This is actually extremely scary, extremely bearish. Just kidding, but also, Jim Cramer is pretty reliable at saying the opposite. But we also see stock markets today, Hong Kong down double-digit percents. We see Taiwan, Japan, Italy. Stock markets across the world are down, right? But the bigger picture is everybody having a good time, right? Because no, stocks are going down. In fact, is the world ending? Potentially, if you read Twitter. We see BlackRock's CEO, Larry Fink, saying that he would not rule out another 20% drop in the market. That's quite large as well. Currently, the SPX, for example, as we said, is down about 17 or so percent. Let's just say from where we currently are, we dropped another 20%. That would be a $4,000 SPX. Wait, so what would the total drawdown of that be? That'd be like maybe like a 35% correction. That would be insane. If we actually look back, this is on the weekly, and if we, I kind of just want to see how this is similar to the COVID crash back here in 2020. From peak to trough, there's about a 35% drop. So what he's basically saying is, don't be surprised if we got another 35% drop, just like COVID. Could it happen? Sure. I guess, right? I mean, nobody knows. That's actually the craziest part about all of this, is that nobody actually knows for sure. Nobody on the planet knows for sure where this is going to lead us. But if we saw another 35% drop or something, the only thing that I know is if we did see that, similar to in 2020, that would be the best buying opportunity of the last 2 decades. Now, currently, we're down like half that or a little less, so it would be early to jump the gun on that, but anything is possible, right? We also see that President Trump has just canceled a press conference with Prime Minister Netanyahu after he flew in to negotiate a tariff deal, so that's potentially big. We're seeing as well, we look at TechDev's post here on X, so many charts, pretty much every chart, showing that a bottom is in. And actually, I posted a tweet by TechDev last week, and I was getting some negative comments about it, basically being like, don't post his content because it's wrong or something. But all of these charts are just objective data. There's not like all he's saying is all of these metrics are showing us that we have bottomed in terms of Bitcoin price. And even some of the top comments here is what best indicator is the amount of soy boy hate in the comments, meaning a lot of people are posting hate in the comments here. Again, this is just data. It's not saying for sure that we have to bounce here, but if it does, I'm just saying I wouldn't be very surprised, and I don't think a lot of people would be surprised if we do. As well, Jason from the All In podcast and early investor in Uber said that he's sticking with his prediction that Trump will declare victory by tomorrow. Vietnam, the EU, and Japan are more than enough to take a round 1 victory lap. We're pausing on country to come to the table and negotiate. I have a mixed opinion on this because it seems like Trump wants to let these tariffs actually play out. It doesn't seem, based on what I've seen so far, it doesn't really seem like he's very interested in just like slapping on these tariffs, and then the second someone calls him and says, hey, we'll take our tariffs, he's going to then take back the tariffs. It seems like he wants these tariffs to be in place for a little longer. Maybe it's a bluff. Maybe he wants them to stay in for longer, considering you can find footage of Donald Trump talking about these tariffs for like decades. He's been talking about tariffs for longer than I've been alive, right? So this is something he has thought about for literally longer than I've been alive. It's a long time. And we also see President Trump threatened an additional 50% tariff on China if it does not withdraw its 34% tariff increase. That's pretty big. And we do see as well Bitcoin currently bouncing off of its 50-week moving average. So that's something big to watch. And this is big also. In 2019, Bitcoin crashed to $3,600. 2020, it crashed to $5,400. 2022, it crashed to $15,000. 2024, it crashed to $54,000. And so far this year, we've crashed to $77,000. Anybody not leading you to Bitcoin is misleading you. I hope you see what's going on. That's the thing, right? The longer this goes on, the more consistent, which Bitcoin is like the most consistent thing in finance, it seems like, period, then really, again, it's the only play. Whether or not Bitcoin goes up tomorrow or next week or next month, whatever, it's very clear what the optimal strategy has been for over a decade now. But yeah, seeing crypto hold up better than stocks is interesting. Really, the major takeaway here is that it's a ticking time bomb of this market is going to explode. It has been crushed and like pushed down like a spring. And at a certain point, it's going to spring back faster than most people really will have an opportunity to even fathom, like to even recognize. It's going to be so fast. But the question is, it's just when. Because it could be tomorrow. It could be a month from now. But really, I mean, my genuine, honest opinion is at a certain point, we're going to look at this chart and it's going to be like this. And you're going to be scrambling to put in buy orders up here when you could have been doing it here, or let's say we go lower here, depending on what it is. Again, not a single person on the planet can tell you exactly when it's going to happen. But what today showed us is just further proof, which I already thought was the case anyway. Most of you already thought this was the case anyway. But further proof that when there is some concrete resolution to these tariffs, this market's going to pump harder and faster than it's ever pumped before. And there's a strong likelihood it even happens this week. And get signed up with the Femex below if you want my Bitcoin altcoins are trade. No KYC or VPN required if you use my link specifically below.